Have you ever wondered why we live as though we'll never die? It's a question that the Buddha's teachings answer with startling clarity, one that shakes us from our everyday distractions. We live in a world that constantly pushes us forward, always focused on the future, always chasing after the next big thing, success, wealth, and fame. But what if everything you were striving for was ultimately fleeting? What if there's a deeper way to experience life, one that's rooted in the present moment, not the next? In today's fast-paced world, we forget that time is not on our side. The Buddha saw this truth clearly. Everything changes. Nothing is permanent. This fundamental principle, known as impermanence or Anicca in Pali, reveals the heart of life's most profound lesson. Yet in our modern age, we often fail to notice the truth of change until it's too late. Through the lens of Buddhist wisdom, we're invited to shift our perspective, embrace the present, and live with intention, knowing that each moment is both precious and impermanent. In this video, we're diving deep into 6 teachings from Buddhism that challenge us to rethink our approach to life, death, and everything in between. From the lessons we can learn from the inevitability of death to the freedom found in releasing the illusion of a permanent self. This exploration invites us to live more fully and freely. Join me as we unpack these teachings and discover how they can transform your life, bringing peace and mindfulness into your everyday moments. Stay with me until the end, because what you learn today will change how you look at your life and death forever. 1. Impermanence, the nature of change. Impermanence, or Anicca, is perhaps the most fundamental and essential truth in Buddhism. It teaches that all things, from our lives to the very fabric of the universe, are in a constant state of flux. This concept is more than a philosophical idea. It is an experience that can be directly observed. It is reflected in the aging process of the body, the shifting of seasons, and even the passing of thoughts and emotions. But how often do we live as though things are static? How often do we cling to moments, people, or possessions, believing they will last forever? In modern life, this misunderstanding is particularly relevant. Take, for example, the case of Steve Jobs, co-founder of Apple Inc. He was known for revolutionizing the technology world and creating products that became nearly indispensable for millions. Yet, despite his achievements, Jobs could not escape the impermanence of life. His battle with cancer and eventual death at the age of 56 serves as a stark reminder of the unpredictability of life. Jobs himself had acknowledged, especially later in his life, how his success and wealth did not shield him from the truth of death. In his own words, "Remembering that you are going to die is the best way I know to avoid the trap of thinking you have something to lose. You are already naked. There is no reason not to follow your heart." Jobs' reflections mirror the essence of the Buddha's teaching on impermanence. He understood that time is fleeting and that we must embrace the present moment. This concept of impermanence brings us back to mindfulness, the ability to live in the moment and appreciate it fully. One day, while reflecting on my personal experiences, I realized how much of my life I had spent chasing future goals and worrying about the uncertainties of tomorrow. But like my elderly friend who passed away after regretting her constant striving, I too realized the importance of cherishing simple moments. It was only in the last years of her life that she stopped to savor the quiet moments, sipping tea by the window, watching the sun rise over the hills. These small, often overlooked moments are the very ones that offer true peace and contentment. Reflecting on impermanence encourages us to reassess how we live. Why spend so much time worrying about the small things that ultimately fade away, like possessions, status, or even the endless cycle of work? Instead, if we can truly accept impermanence, we can begin to appreciate every moment as a unique gift. In a world that often rushes toward the future, Buddhism teaches us to pause and notice the fleeting beauty of now. 2. Death as a teacher, not a fear. The Buddha recognized that death is an inevitable part of life and that our fear of it often governs how we live. We are constantly looking for ways to avoid death, to delay it, or at the very least to deny its power. This is a universal theme. Many people in the modern world strive for immortality in various forms, accumulating wealth, building legacies, and achieving fame. Yet even those with the most power, like world leaders or influential figures, cannot avoid death. Consider the life of Queen Elizabeth II. Throughout her reign, she embodied strength, resilience, and leadership. Yet despite her remarkable life and enduring legacy, death still came to her. Her passing, though anticipated due to her age, reminded us all that no matter how much we achieve or how much influence we wield, death remains a part of our reality. The teachings of the Buddha resonate here. Death is not something to be feared, but something to embrace as a teacher. It is a reminder that life is not permanent, and this truth invites us to live more meaningfully. In the context of mindfulness, the Buddha teaches that death can be a teacher, not a source of despair, but a means to awaken us to the value of life. By understanding the inevitable nature of death, we learn to let go of trivial distractions and focus on what truly matters. This lesson is one that can be applied daily. When we drink a cup of tea, we should taste it, feel its warmth, and appreciate the moment for what it is. Not the next task, not the next event, but the present moment. This mindfulness practice is a way of honoring life by acknowledging its transience. 3. The path to freedom, understanding non-self. The Buddha's teaching of anatta, or non-self, is one of his most profound and liberating teachings. The core of this teaching is the understanding that the self we so often cling to is not permanent, but rather a fluid combination of experiences and conditions. Our thoughts, emotions, and bodies are constantly changing, and the illusion of a fixed self only leads to suffering. A great example of someone who embodied the idea of anatta was Bruce Lee. Lee, a martial artist and actor, is remembered not only for his physical prowess but also for his philosophical insights. He famously said, "Absorb what is useful, discard what is not, add what is uniquely your own." This idea reflects the fluidity of identity, the notion that we are not fixed but ever-changing. Bruce Lee was not attached to any one style, belief, or identity. He recognized that life, and by extension himself, were processes that could evolve and transform. Lee's philosophy mirrors the Buddhist notion of anatta, a constant flow, not a permanent entity. The Buddha's teaching on anatta encourages us to question who we are. When we cling to an image of ourselves, we are grasping at something that is constantly changing. A story that encapsulates this concept is the story of the river. Just like the water of a river flows and changes, so too does our sense of self. Our identity, thoughts, and feelings are in constant flux. The more we try to cling to a solid idea of who we are, the more we suffer. In daily life, we can practice anatta by embracing the impermanent nature of our identity. Let go of rigid definitions of who you think you should be, and instead, allow yourself to evolve. The person you were yesterday is not the person you are today, nor will you be the same tomorrow. 4. Grief and acceptance. Living fully despite loss. Grief is an unavoidable part of life. Everyone will experience loss in some form, whether it's the death of a loved one, the end of a relationship, or the loss of an opportunity. The Buddha's teachings do not ask us to avoid grief or suppress our emotions. Instead, he taught us to feel grief fully, but with mindfulness. Grief is the shape that love takes when it has nowhere to go. The example of a prominent figure like Princess Diana offers us a perspective on grief. Her untimely death shocked the world, and millions of people mourned her loss. She was beloved for her humanitarian work, and her death left a void that still echoes in many hearts. In her life, Diana embodied compassion and a deep understanding of human suffering. Her legacy is not just in the charity work she did, but in how she showed love without attachment to outcomes. Her story reminds us that even in the face of death, we can find meaning in our grief, and it can serve as a tool for growth. In my own life, I have experienced deep grief over the loss of family members. I have learned that grief is not something to fear or push away, but something to sit with and learn from. It is through the experience of grief that we come to understand the true value of the people we love. The Buddha's teachings on suffering and impermanence help us make sense of grief. By understanding that life and death are both part of the same cycle, we can begin to accept loss without it overwhelming us. 5. Living with purpose. Embracing each moment. Living with purpose means embracing the present moment and recognizing its value. The Buddha's teachings on appamada or heedfulness encourage us to be deeply present in each moment. We often get caught up in the chase for success, material wealth, or validation from others. But when we understand that life is fleeting, we begin to focus on what truly matters: the simple acts of kindness, attention, and care. A great example of someone who lived with purpose was Mahatma Gandhi. Gandhi led India's fight for independence through nonviolent means, emphasizing the power of small, everyday actions in creating societal change. He understood that every action, no matter how small, had the potential to impact the world. His life reminds us that living with purpose doesn't require grand gestures. It's about being fully present and intentional in the small things we do. By practicing mindfulness and focusing on the present moment, we can cultivate a life that is filled with intention. This means slowing down, focusing on what truly matters, and living in alignment with our values. Whether it's taking a walk in nature, engaging in meaningful conversations, or spending time with loved ones, each moment is an opportunity to live with purpose. 6. Death as a continuation, not an end. Buddhism teaches that death is not the end of everything, but rather the continuation of a process. Our actions, words, and deeds leave an imprint that ripples through time and space, shaping the world in ways we cannot always see. This is the essence of karma. Every action has an effect. When we lose someone, we often wonder where they've gone. But in Buddhism, the concept of a permanent soul passing from one life to another isn't central. Instead, life is seen as a chain of causes and conditions. Like one candle lighting another, the energy and essence of a person continue in different forms. Consider someone like Nelson Mandela, whose legacy continues to impact the world long after his death. His actions, words, and teachings have transcended his lifetime, inspiring millions worldwide to continue the struggle for equality and justice. His life is an example of how actions, rooted in compassion and wisdom, can leave an enduring legacy that continues long after the individual has passed away. In understanding karma and dependent origination, we come to see that death is not an annihilation but a transformation. When we die, the energy of our life continues to flow, affecting the world around us in ways we may never fully understand. As we come to the end of our journey through these Buddhist teachings, one thing becomes clear. The impermanence of life is not something to fear, but something to embrace. Life, with all its fleeting moments, is sacred precisely because it does not last forever. The Buddha's wisdom teaches us that death is not an end, but a continuation, a transformation. And in this transformation, we find freedom. Just like the river that flows constantly, changing its course and shape, we too are not fixed, but constantly evolving. Every action, every thought, every word we speak leaves an imprint, rippling through time and space, shaping not only our future, but the world around us. When we truly accept the transient nature of life, we can begin to live with more purpose, more love, and more mindfulness. We are not here forever, but while we are, every moment is an opportunity to live fully, to embrace the people and experiences around us, and to appreciate the simple, beautiful moments that often go unnoticed. In doing so, we bring ourselves closer to peace, freedom, and clarity. So, as you move through your day, remember, life is impermanent, but in that impermanence lies its greatest gift. Don't wait for death to teach you the value of life. Start living with intention, start cherishing the present, and you'll find that the true freedom and peace you seek are already within your reach. If you found these teachings helpful, don't forget to subscribe to Buddhism Wisdom Teachings for more insights into how ancient wisdom can guide us in today's world. May you live fully, embracing the impermanence of life, and may your journey toward peace and understanding be ever evolving. Thank you for watching.